Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast. Inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs, here is your host, Dr. Frances Arlene.
Before we dive into today's conversation about building a resilient and successful business, let's talk about the foundation. Every high-growth venture requires a plan for the unexpected. Is your family's structure as protected as your business plan? The best contingency plan for your home life is our DIY Legacy Planning Toolkit. Grab this simple roadmap right now at the link in the show notes and let's secure your legacy. Now on to the show. What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 529. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Arlene. Are you ready to build sustainable confidence and perform with authenticity and power while you command attention and respect? Our next guest is founder of Walk This Way movement. Welcome, Shakila Stewart.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you would like them to know about you and your business?
I am Shakila Stewart, the premier confidence and presence coach and chief confidence officer of Walk This Way movement and Chin Up, You Got This. I help women, youth, and artists build a healthy self-esteem and confidence in order to live their full potential. And I do this through educational workshops, life coaching, literature, as well as branded apparel. And I am a 4-time author, and I have over 15 years of experience in the industry. Some of my work has been seen on The Steve Harvey Show, Windy City Live, LA Style Magazine, as well as Black Enterprise in the LA County Mental Health Department. We are originally from Chicago, but now I reside in Los Angeles, California. So I am so excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Tell us your backstory. How did you get there about the confidence building, authenticity, and the life coach? Tell us about your journey and how did you get to this place in your career?
I became a confidence coach because growing up, I had big dreams. I wanted to be on television. I wanted to be a model and actress. And I did achieve those goals. But growing up, I didn't have confidence. I did not have the confidence to match those goals. But it wasn't until I was 26 years old and my mother passed away. And at that time, I was an artist. I was a struggling artist, but I still had some kind of success. As I stated, I was in magazines. I graduated from college with a theater degree. And at 26, my mother passed away, and all of a sudden, my life changed. I then had to adopt my 10-year-old brother. And at that moment, I discovered that I had a strength in me that I didn't know that I had. And I had an aha moment that I was really confident, that I was really strong, but I just needed a space. And at times, I needed a push to conquer those hard dreams and goals that seemed out of reach. That's when I created Walk This Way movement, because there were so many women around me that I knew who had these big dreams and goals, but we were allowing fear to stop us. And I said, no, because we conquer every obstacle, but when it comes to our dreams, we stop. I created Walk This Way movement. I created a method of posture, presence, and personality, and teaching the women how to persevere through obstacles and walk the runway towards their dreams. And then our second class was actually featured on television. So that's how I got into the confidence building space.
I love that. And you have, from that time period, you've come in contact with many clients. Talk about, and only share what you can share. Talk about, and I'm sure you have many, but a client or two about the impact and what was that success for you?
I work a lot. So I work with women in youth. I always say this is one of the best stories I've ever had. I did a 10-week confidence and leadership workshop in Chicago. And at the end of the program, the young ladies do a showcase for their parents to show what they've learned throughout the 10 weeks. And when I tell you these girls, they put me through the ringer, teenage girls who think they cute. They confident already, put me through the ringer the entire 10 weeks, but I grew. At the end of the presentation, after the program was over, one of the young ladies ran to me, Miss Stewart, Miss Stewart. I said, what's going on? She said, Miss Stewart, my mother never smiles. And when she saw me on stage today, she smiled. And that stopped me in my tracks because I said, whoa, she noticed on stage that her showing good presence, good posture, and doing something positive, that not only was it helping her, but it was making her mother feel good. This young lady let me know that she cared about her mother's happiness. From that, I knew that we needed to create something for parents as well. So I created the Runway Workout. The Runway Workout is a coaching program for parents and caregivers and educators to encourage them that they're the supermodels of their life, no matter what obstacles they faced. If I'm imparting confidence in children, I wanted them to have these same tools that when they get home, their mother is feeling good about herself as well. And she could reaffirm what I'm teaching them in the classroom. So I would say that's one of my favorite stories. Secondly, I would say a story that has impacted me and really pushed me to really understand how powerful self-esteem and confidence can change a person's life outside of my personal story is I was at Los Angeles Southwest College and I was promoting my book, Chin Up, You Got This, Walk This Way into Self-Worth, Your Dreams and Your Purpose. And a young lady, about 19, 20, she walked past my table and she came to me and she goes, I just want to let you know that my mother recently got murdered. And when I saw your book cover that said, Chin Up, You Got This, it gave me hope to keep going. When she said that, I paused because I was like, whoa. First of all, honored her for being vulnerable and bold and encouraging me in a time where she was feeling not her best. But also she let me know just by looking at this book that it was a life-changing moment for her. Just the words, chin up, you got this, gave her hope to keep going. And I didn't take that lightly, and I never will. From that, it pushed me to create Chin Up as a nonprofit because it wasn't at first. So that young lady, she changed my life. So I would say moments like that and clients like that, really just having one experience with them, a 10-week to 10 seconds, hearing an encouraging word of Chin Up, You Got This, has truly impacted my life as well as my clients.
That's an amazing story. You mentioned 4 times author. Share the titles of your book and where they can purchase the books.
My first book is Chin Up, You Got This, Walk This Way into Self-Worth, Your Dreams and Your Purpose. And it's accompanied by a workbook and it has a journal along with it. So that's a trilogy, the Chin Up trilogy. And then my fourth book is a faith and devotional journal. It's called Favor in 2 French Braids. It tells the story of how I moved from Chicago to Los Angeles. And all I had was God's favor. And I was wearing 2 French braids. And God miraculously provided for me. It tells you how I ran into 3 strangers that changed my life. So you can find these books on Amazon and you can find them on my website at walkthiswaymovement.com and the Chin Up trilogy, chinupyougotthis.org.
And talk about just the naming of Walk This Way movement. Why did you name it that?
Well, Walk This Way, it's a lifestyle and it's direction. It's telling women, yeah, you can walk that way, but we want to walk this way. We want to walk towards hope. We want to walk towards self-respect. We want to walk towards authenticity. We want to walk towards confidence. We want to walk towards our dreams. And we don't have to do it alone. That's why it's a movement, because you can do it with your neighbors. You can do it at church. You can do it at work. You can do it at school. Women from all walks of life can walk this way. And I just want to tell people this, that my great grandmother, she had polio. She couldn't walk, and she was in a wheelchair her entire life. But she was from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, she gathered my grandmother and her children and migrated to the south side of Chicago in a wheelchair on the bus. When I tell women walk this way movement isn't just about walking with your legs, but it's having a mindset and using your tools that you have to walk towards a better life and a better future for yourself. That's what it means to me. And then it just honored my great grandmother, because she couldn't walk, but now it's like her great granddaughter is teaching the world how to walk in a different way, with confidence and with strength and purpose. So yeah, I love that.
And let's talk about you having to take on the responsibility raising at the time, it was your 10-year-old brother. And I don't want to sidetrack that. I want to say that condolences for the loss when you losing your mom. How is your brother doing? And what is the greatest lesson that you learned from that experience? Young woman taking on the role, not only big sister, but even a motherly role.
You know what? I always say this. When my brother was born, I was 16. So when I tell you, he's always been my birth control. I tell people, when I was in high school, I knew what it was like to have a child because I had a brother. So I was running away from being a mother. So he has always been my guardian angel, because I was changing diapers, warming up milk, babysitting when I wanted to go out. So I knew the responsibility young of being a mom. And I would say that my brother, he's doing well now, and he is so resilient. He's such a leader. He's very strong, and he's very motivating, and he's very kind. And what I would say that I learned the most from that experience is that I had to persevere. He, again, adopting him showed me a strength that I didn't know that I had, pushed me to get more serious about my dreams and goals, and it pushed me to get on the right path. He was my accountability to say, hey, you have someone who is looking up to you, like you're the leader now. And that was hard. If I'm going to be honest, that was not easy. That was not easy at all. But again, I would say that's been one of my greatest accomplishments, was keeping my family together. And my sister, she was 19 at the time. So we all came together, and we are very connected and best friends. So our mother, she really raised us in the Lord and really taught us how to, it's like she prepared us when she was going to leave. And she did. I remember like a week before she passed in the hospital, she just held my hand and she said, Shakila, you have to let me go, but I will always be with you. And just take care of your siblings and stay in God's face. So that's been my strength. It's just my faith and just her strength. And I had great community around me as well. You know, I have great friends as well. So that helped a lot.
That's beautiful. Thanks for sharing. What practice or habit keeps you grounded when life or business gets chaotic?
I recently read a scripture in Isaiah 60 and 17, and it talks about that peace is our leader and well-being is our ruler. It taught me that my well-being is a priority to God over my purpose. And once I read that scripture, it made me like I work out more, which is a great release for, you know, negative emotions and just stress in general. I journal a lot. And I also read a lot. I love to read and watch a movie too. Like at times I'll just say, okay, it's time to take a break and watch a movie, you know. get comfy, and watch a movie. So that's how I stay grounded in faith. And my sister, if I get out of line, my family, they know how to get me back on alignment. So they're not yes people. So, we from Chicago, as I said, so they know how to bring things back into perspective. And then, of course, just my faith in God.
I
Yes.
like that. Thank you for that. What was that moment or experience that made you realize that entrepreneurship was your path?
Actually, in 2008, when Barack became president, I was just so inspired by him and Michelle Obama. And I wanted to encourage youth to dream and to see themselves in a positive light. So I designed like Barack t-shirts. And I did like a onesie that said, "It doesn't end with Obama, it shall continue with me," with little footprints on there for babies, newborn babies. And then I did a shirt with Obama on it that said, "Because he became, I can be," with affirmations on the back. And then for the girls, I did Michelle Obama, "Because she is, I am," with affirmations on the back. So from there, that started my entrepreneurial journey. Just when Barack became president, I knew that was just my path. I started making money selling items. And then I went into teaching musical theater directing right after that, because I understood that the audience that I wanted to connect with, they were more so in the classrooms, in that schools. They wouldn't pay me to be a motivational speaker then, but they would pay me to be a musical theater director. That's when my entrepreneurial journey started.
Talk about raising capital to start your business. How did you raise the capital?
I did a lot of fundraising events, and it was the right people in the room, thank God. But it took me time. It took me years to really get to the other side of maybe not living paycheck to paycheck and going into entrepreneurship full time. Because, of course, with schools, I would go into schools as a private contractor under my company. So that was fine. But when I really started coaching and building Walk This Way movement, and doing book signings, it just happened to be one time I did a book signing, and there was a married couple in the audience who owned 4 schools. So that was a great contract. And then I did a 4-week runway workout program, and it was the right people in the space that believed in the work that I was doing, and they saw impact right away. So I think that's one of the things, is that my coaching techniques work, because if you come to a session, you're going to experience breakthrough immediately. And it's, of course, the affirmations. I'm teaching you to walk with posture, presence, personality. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone. So I think someone who is really going through a hard experience, and they experience the workshop and they experience breakthrough, they're going to want to sow seed into that.
We talk a lot about structure, but think about this. If you couldn't access your phone or computer right now, who would step in? Don't leave a guessing game for your loved ones. Our $120 DIY toolkit takes the guesswork out of an uncertain time. It gives you the step-by-step process to finally organize your digital assets, your financial accounts, and your family directives. Stop worrying. Find the link in the show notes to purchase your toolkit and get started today. Absolutely. What personal values drive your decision making as an entrepreneur?
I would say faith. I always, even before our call, I pray and I ask God, to take any pride, out of my heart. I ask for wisdom. And if I'm anxious, I'm still, because opportunities always come my way and I want to jump on them, but at times it may not be the right one. But prayer has always been my foundation. Talking to God has definitely been a guide in my decision making. If it's in alignment with our values of honoring women, honoring youth, and honoring purpose, that's usually how I make decisions. And then I have coaches as well. I do have coaches and I reach out to them and I do ask, like, what do you think about this? Or so I do have people that I'll reach out to as well for guidance.
And speaking about coaches, how do you vet your coaches, or how would you recommend someone that is looking for a coach to vet a coach?
That's a great question. So I would say when you are looking for a coach, see if they are successful in the area where you want to be successful. That's the best way that you can look on their websites, look on their Instagram pages, look on their LinkedIn, understand their personality, and see if their values and goals line up with where you want to go. And I think that's the best way to choose a coach that can answer a problem that you need solved.
And with you being a coach yourself, and if your business disappeared tomorrow, what legacy or impact would you want to be remembered for?
I would want people to know that no matter where you come from, no matter who or what your family background is, when you enter any room, you walk in that room with your chin up, knowing that you are valuable and that you bring value to every room that you enter. So that would be my legacy, to enter every room with your chin up because you belong there and you bring value there.
And how do you make impact daily, Shakila? How do you make personal impact?
You know what? Every day I try to do an encouraging video through YouTube or my social media, Facebook, just to encourage others to keep going, youth and women, and working with my students who come from all different kind of backgrounds. Again, just encouraging them to continuously moving forward. And then I just tell people this as well. You never know the impact you can make when you walk down the street and you smile at someone and you give them a compliment. Just walking down the street and saying hello to someone, that's making impact in their lives because that's letting them know that they are seen. So I think that's how I make impact daily in a small but impactful way.
Can you describe a moment in life or business when you were on the verge of giving up and what pulled you through?
Yes. When I moved from Chicago to Los Angeles 8 years ago. My brother went to college, my sister got married, and I moved here. And so I was like, okay, it's my time to pursue my acting and modeling career. And when I moved here, everything was going well. I was I was connecting with so many great people that I wanted to. But then it was a moment where things slowed down. And of course, as I told you guys, I'm a strong person of faith and I went to God. I would go hiking to the Hollywood sign every Thursday just to get answers, just to get clarity from God, because I left everything in Chicago to follow this dream now. And so when I get here, I'm hiking and I'm like, God, what's happening? I'm like, why aren't things moving fast like you told me? And he goes, because you haven't surrendered to the call of ministry over your life. And I was like, what? I was like, I did not come, and I'm so serious. I was like, I didn't come to LA for ministry. I could have stayed in Chicago. Like, no, this is for my dreams. It was a moment where I had to surrender what I wanted for what God wanted for me.
Mm.
And that was hard because Hollywood, LA is the place where this could happen for me. I can get my big break here. And so I did. I surrendered what I wanted for what God wanted for me. And the message I believe that God wanted me to know was that my fulfillment in life wasn't going to come from my dream coming true. It was going to come from Him. And I'm so grateful that He gave me that lesson because He saw a greater impact. He knew what celebrity clients that I would have along the way, the things that they were dealing with, and He was preparing me for that through that surrender. I had to walk through a lot of identity work. Again, wearing those French braids, like in Illinois, we would never come to Hollywood rocking French braids. Like it's just something you wouldn't do. So all of this was just humbling for me to do a lot of inner work and to understand my worth wasn't in money, the way that I look, who I was connected to. all of these things, I had to go through that process of letting go of those things and getting restored in true confidence. And that's how I became the premier confidence and presence coach, because I understood where true confidence comes from, and it wasn't anything outwardly. And now I'm able to give those same tools to others, but I had to walk out that journey, and it wasn't easy, but I did it, and I'm grateful.
And I like that when you talk about that inner work and someone is listening and they're going, where do I start? I'm feeling this anxiousness, or I'm feeling like I'm not authentically myself, or I am the imposter syndrome. Speak about that.
I would tell someone this: take a moment and write out everything that you're feeling in your journal. Be completely honest with yourself about how you're feeling. You have to let it out first. And then I would tell you from that, write things out about yourself that are positive. Write your I ams. Start with I ams. And even if you don't see that I am in your life right now, speak an I am into existence. Speak how you want to see yourself. I am confident. I am beautiful. I am amazing. One technique that I teach my students is, in my clients, I am, I can, and I will. Answer those questions for yourself. I am beautiful. I can write. I will become a writer. And if you say these simple things every day, you will eventually start seeing change in your life. And I'll tell you guys, I didn't start off again with confidence and value, but I worked for it. This is work. People think self-love is easy. You got to work at it, because social media, magazines, and television, it's almost like they're telling you to be everything but yourself. So in this generation now, you have to fight to be who you are. And I just want to encourage you that you are enough. And we are living in a time where we need you. We need the authentic you to show up, because the world needs the authentic version of you to offer us something new.
Absolutely. What was your biggest bet that paid off, and what made you take the leap?
I would say, again, my biggest leap, I think, was moving to LA, leaving everything, leaving business opportunities. I was engaged at the time, but I knew that that wasn't the right person. An amazing guy. I just knew we were just on different paths. And that was hard because I moved at 33. So I've grown. I've lived life. And then to leave business opportunities, to move to LA, to say, hey, I want to follow my artist dream. And even as I'm saying it to you now, I feel good that I did that. I feel so good that I did that, that's a part of my story that I can say, you know what? Yes, I did that. And it was hard. People talked about me in the beginning. It was looking like I made the wrong choice. I'm telling you, it was looking real bad. But right now, it paid off in such a big way. And I'm so grateful that I know that I'm on the path that God had for me. I know that I'm meant to be here in LA, and it has blessed my life tremendously in my personal life and business, relationships. It has been very enriching for me.
What's a belief you had early on in your journey that you now know was completely wrong?
Personally, I would say this. Maybe I should have left this for my book, but I wasn't raised with my biological parents. And so I was adopted by my great aunt, who I call my mom, who passed away. Because I wasn't raised with my parents, I didn't feel valuable a lot of the times. And that was a lie. That was such a lie. I didn't think that it was going to be a time in my life where I would have joy knowing that I wasn't raised with my parents, because I was sad about that. But it's like I'm healed from that. I have so much joy now, and I understand in life how people can make choices that it's hard. And my biological parents were amazing, although they didn't raise me. So, those are truths that I have now. I'm amazing. I'm valuable. I'm worthy. And I would tell anybody that even if your parents didn't raise you, you can still have joy and fulfill your purpose in life. So that's what I know now.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. What is the biggest internal, mental, or emotional shift you had to make to grow your business?
You have to do the work. It's a book out called Profit First. And if you read Profit First, it gives you a lot of answers to say, hey, what's in my company right now that's not making money? But what it's really saying is, what do you have to offer that will make you money? So it's teaching you that you're in business to make money. And a lot of the times as entrepreneurs, when we starting off, we're like, oh, I have to do it free. I have to do it free. I have to do it free. And I'll tell you this, how you start, that's how you'll keep going. You can do one or two free, but after that, you can't get in the habit of giving your services out for free. You can't get in the habit of doing free work. You just can't do that. That's once I changed that mindset, that's when I saw my company grow tremendously.
What's a common strategy or rule that you've broken in your industry, and why did it work for you?
A lot of the opportunities that I've received in coaching or just in general business opportunities, I will say this. In early entrepreneurship, I did a lot of volunteering, but I did it with intentionality because it got me in rooms with people in high level positions. And so I was able to connect with people in high level positions. So, for example, with my first book that I wrote, Mary D, she did the forward for me. And she was the first African American woman in Chicago who was able to present the lottery on the news. She was a news anchor in Illinois. And the CEO of the YWCA, she gave me an endorsement for the book. But I connected with those two ladies by volunteering at an event. And I was able to get in the room. So I would say that at times that was a strategy that I used, was volunteering for these high level events to build relationships with people on high levels. And it worked for me. It really did.
What's a leadership mistake that humbled you, and how did it change your approach?
I remember I was teaching a musical theater directing class. And I told my students, and I know this is so bad, but they were, I was like, you guys are acting like Bebe's kids. And the room got silent. Everybody got quiet. And that was the first time that everybody was completely silent. And I was like, what did I just do? But I broke their spirits. That's what they were thinking anyway about themselves. And it was something in me that affirmed that. And I immediately, the next day I had to apologize because I couldn't even sleep that night, and I went back to class and I told them that I apologized and that I didn't mean that. And that was a hard thing because, some people accepted it, but some people probably was like, you know what, Miss Stewart, she was wrong for that. And so those are one of the things that I'm very careful that I wouldn't do that to any of my clients or my students. And, I was younger then, but it's still something that stuck out to me that I learned from.
I like that. The power of words.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they say, the tongue, it can bring life or death.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
I want you, Shakila, to have a monologue, and I want you to name this person, living or not. They've inspired you so much. Who is that person, and what are you saying to that person?
I would call this monologue my strength. And it would be to my biological mother, who is no longer with us. But that's where I get my strength, being the first generational college graduate in my family, of being a risk taker, moving to Los Angeles because she took a risk when she was 19 and moved to New York to follow her career path. I directed The Wiz growing up a lot as a musical theater production, and they called her The Wiz because she was so smart. My fashion style comes from you. creativity. So although you are not present, her life speaks volume in my life. I'm her legacy. I'm her Oscar, her trophy, her greatest success story, arguably, even though my siblings are successful as well. But yeah, and I'm honored to I'm launching a program in December in honor of her.
Speaking of legacy, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I would say, as someone who was present and just live life to the fullest, live life, someone who has these amazing stories to share with others, these amazing, like, God winks that I share with the world.
What advice would you give a younger you, the version of you just starting out?
You're going to get there. You're going to do more than what you dreamt or imagined. You are a powerhouse. And I would just say that you have more to offer than just the way you look.
If you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
If someone wanted me to be their confidence coach, how could I help them? If you are a woman and you are in corporate America and you have business meetings that you want to attend, or you are a young woman who's starting out and you want to learn how to walk in heels, reach out to walkthiswaymovement.com. You are an executive and you want to be able to command any room that you enter. Call me, reach out for a 15-minute consultation. If you are a mom and you are dealing with confidence issues and you want to feel beautiful, you want to feel that you are enough, you want to build community, reach out to walkthiswaymovement.com.
We've come to the part of the interview. It's called rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you a series of questions and I want you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the rapid fire questions?
Yes.
What's the first thing you do every morning?
Pray.
One book that changed your life.
The coldest winter ever.
What's your favorite failure, the one that taught you the most?
When I turned down an engagement.
Coffee or tea, which while building an empire?
Coffee, but at night tea. Coffee in the morning, but at night tea.
I love that. Is there an app or one tool that you can't live without?
Alexa.
If you had to pitch your business in one sentence, what would it be?
Are you ready to build unshakable confidence? Walk this way. You got this.
Chin up.
Chin up. Yes.
Who's an entrepreneur you'd love to have dinner with, that's living or not?
Of course, I would love to have dinner with Oprah. I love Oprah. You know, I talk about her in my book. I'm inspired by Oprah. I'm going to an event tomorrow and she's speaking. So this is my first time. Well, I will be in the room with Oprah. So I am so excited, but I would love to have lunch with Oprah. And I would say this too. I would love to have, I know it was around social media how people would take the money or have lunch with Jay-Z. So I would love to have lunch with Jay-Z. And only because I feel that with the young men in our generation now, they want to be the old version of him, the younger version of him. They want to be that. I would literally pick his brain about creating opportunities and answers for young men who want to be him, who want to start off as rappers, but they have more in them, such as entrepreneurship, scientists, doctors, and lawyers. So I would love to have lunch with him to talk about how we can create something in the world that would speak to that demographic of youth who he has influence over.
Thank you for that. What's the best way for our audience to connect with you, support your work, and follow your journey? Feel free to share your social media handles, websites, or anything else you'd like to share.
Yes. So for women and entertainers and executive leaders, please go to walkthiswaymovement.com. And for youth, educators, parents, and caregivers, and nonprofit organizations, you can go to chinupyouGotThis.org.
Thank you, Shakila Stewart. That's a wrap. Thanks again to our incredible guests for sharing their insight on building a resilient business. And remember what we discussed, resilience starts at home. If you're ready to protect the legacy you're building, not just the income, make sure to check out the DIY Legacy Planning Toolkit. You can find the direct link in the show notes. Go get your peace of mind now.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.